Alrighty, so week 12. Wow, the time is flying. Your decision app, step 4. Okay, so fix any issues that I pointed out in step 3, and then create your step 4 folder and copy that in there. So here's what you're doing this time is you're updating your code to include the function calls inside the event listener for the form. Okay, so when the user enters the data, you actually call the functions, right? Determine your decision, and then output the decision and some, or should be all, the input data, whatever you want here. And you'll see how I did it. I ended up doing it just the object. Now I did still save it in an array of objects, but I just outputted the specific object itself. And then write some custom form validation for at least one of your inputs. I'll show you how I did this. Now, this is the part actually I haven't done. So I'll just give you the idea here, or maybe I'll pause and do it. But in this case, let me show you what I've done. And then what I want you to do with the last part is actually start thinking about how you're going to render. And in this case, we learned about rendering the table. You can do it some other way. You just need a way to output to show the user the data that they entered in a way that you're going to give them to edit it. Again, you could use the table or you could use another method. It's really up to you. I suspect many will use a table because that's what we've learned. But again, I'm not going to hard require that. But what I want you to do is hard code on your form, at least somewhere, showing me here's what I'm going to start working on. Because next week, we'll probably spend a week, maybe two, working on setting up that render functionality that we did in the carbon footprint. Okay, so let me move over here and show you my output. I ended up taking my CSS from the async workout just because I thought it was kind of fun to do it, right? So in this case, right, so I have day of the week, right? And then let's say I have a 90. So when I hit submit, right, displaying decision, and I show here's the inputs, sleep score, and then here's the activity decision, recovery walk, BMR, this. Okay, and then the form resets. Okay, so in this case, all I'm doing is I'm not iterating over that array of objects, but I have stored that input as an object in the array. Okay. So for custom validation, I played around a little bit, and here's what I decided to do was once the user comes into the next field for the sleep, if they enter anything less than 5, like a 4, I'm going to output a message, sleep score cannot be less than 5, and then I set a timeout. I clear that, and then I put the focus back here so that if they try to submit it again, they get the same error message and boom, it goes away. So it's not until they have a condition over 5 that it outputs again. Now in this case, I'm just outputting the next number, the next object. Okay, I'm not actually iterating over, which is part of what you're going to want to think about, right? So I would want to see under here somewhere, then you hard code the beginning of, right? So this is our C for creation. Our C is create, and then read, right? We're reading this back. But in order for us to do the edit and the delete, we need some kind of way to have that functionality. And again, typically, you've seen in this class how to create tables to do that. So let me pause real quick and hard code what I think mine will look like. It'll be pretty simple. Okay, so I just went and got that and populated it to show like this is what I'm going to work on next week, just because I want you to have been thinking about that. You know, how are you going to give the user? Because that will be what we'll start next week, which is how do you render something that shows the user what they entered, and by the way, multiple times, right? So this still works as is, but what you want ultimately is what we saw like in the carbon footprint, where the user sees the data that they've entered and they can edit, delete it. Okay. Again, you could actually think about how to do it here, but I think it'd be a little more challenging, because what you really want to do, and this would be my requirement to start thinking, is you want to iterate over that array of objects. Or again, give me a plan, like think about this. So this might be the other thing, is if you are going to do something, you know, outside of what we've covered, then tell me in your either your submission or somewhere, here's how I'm going to handle that. Again, I think most of us will probably just do what we've already seen in class, because it's a good model to follow, but you know. So anyway, that's the last step. Sorry I didn't have that ready, but hard code what you plan on doing, for the tabular data, which we will start next week. Okay, hope this helps give you an idea of what you need to do this week. Again, you can approach this however you want as far as the output for this week for this. Now, by the way, I kind of modeled this on what we did the week we only outputted the object and not iterated over. So I removed all of my iteration code for now, iterating over that array of objects. I'm still capturing it in there, so it's in my code base, but I don't at this point, because that's what it will be working on next week. All right, talk to you later.